Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing the new TV show Magicians. This was created for television by Sarah Gamble and is based on the Lev Grossman novels of the same name. They've dubbed this Harry Potter on heroin type thing, and it sort of is like that, I guess, in a lot of ways. It really tells the story of Quentin Coldwater, a young guy played by a newcomer, Jason Ralph. He's able to do particular magician tricks, and he dreams of becoming this great magician. He dreams of another world beyond his. He's really become obsessed with this kid series of books called Fillory and Further. He really wishes that this particular Fillory place was real and he could go there and become this magician. He feels like he's been left behind, that he's meant to do something but he doesn't quite know what it is. And he hopes that life is better than he's experiencing, but he just doesn't know. And it really looks at him and his friend Julia as they go to do interviews for Harvard to get into college. But things don't go quite according to plan, and they end up having interviews not for Harvard but for this magician school called Breakbills, and they end up there and having to do this test, and it's really about them evolving as magicians and learning to use their abilities and to control them. Quentin, he gets into this particular school where we meet a variety of other characters. We meet Elliot, who's a particularly interesting sort of character, has a lot of parties and well-defined sort of men. He's quite an interesting character. And his offsider, Margot, who's sort of a princess privilege sort of character, but is very strong in magical ways as well, and they're a great bond together. We also meet Alice, a character that's very powerful, but she doesn't quite know how powerful she is. And she's a sort of enigma. You don't quite know a lot about her within the series, and you learn a lot as it goes along. And I think she's a really interesting character, and he's very strong and smart. And if you look at it as a Harry Potter type of scenario, I guess, Quentin would be, I guess, Harry, and Alice would be a Hermione sort of character, because she's very smart and capable and is a lot stronger and more powerful than most of the other characters within the series. And we also meet Penny. Now Penny is a guy that sort of doesn't want to get involved in anything, makes fun of things, has a real attitude and a real chip on his shoulder. He's what is known as a traveller. So he's able to, using his mind, travel from place to place, and is a really interesting character as well. And he's one of my favourite characters within the series. And the series really follows all these characters as they try to navigate this particular school and learn these abilities that they do have, and ultimately becoming the magicians they want to become. And during this sort of thing, it's revealed there's a particular villain within this series called the Beast, and he really starts to cause havoc, and he comes after Quentin and this particular group, and it's about them banding together to try and work out, one, who he is and how to stop him. And it's sort of, as the series goes along, and it evolves quite a bit, and you learn a lot more about the characters and their place within the story. And it looks a lot of fantasy stuff. I've never been really into a lot of fantasy sort of films. Like, I didn't mind, you know, some of the Harry Potters, and I did like Lord of the Rings when I did see it, but I've never really been into it. Where this sort of series sort of sucked me into that world. I accepted everything that I saw. I like the direction that particular series is going and does take you, and the evolving of the characters and the fantasy element that they do add to it. And I think it's really well done. The visual effects are pretty solid for what they're going for in this series, and they're very effective, I feel. It's even to the point that I want to read the books. I'm really interested in learning more about this world and these characters with it that inhabit this particular world. It's a very surprising series. It goes in directions you don't expect. They're not scared to play with the audience or twist stories or characters and take them in directions you don't expect. The only criticism I would have for it is that it is very violent. Probably a bit too much violence in it for me, I guess, at a lot of elements, because it does get quite dark in parts. And the other thing is, sometimes the characters aren't consistent. And I know as a human being, we're different, we're complicated, there's many levels and layers to us. I know we don't always stick and stay the same as people. But there's particular characters in this that they send them in really strange directions. Then they send them in a different direction, which I thoroughly enjoy, like the story arc with Julia and going from the dark sort of magic stuff to lighter stuff. I kind of like that. And then they took her in a completely different direction again, and sort of made me feel a bit disappointed, because that's Her and Penny are my favourite characters. With Penny, he's evolving and changing, and Julia is too, but just, I don't know, maybe I've got too much high expectations for her character and expect it to go into a certain way that it's just not going and never will. But look, I really enjoy this show. I like the look, the feel of it, I like the fantasy element, I like the characters, I like the magician aspect to it, I like the school. There's so many aspects of this series that I really, really thoroughly enjoy. Okay, final verdict for Magicians Season 1. If you like something that's a bit different, if you like a bit of fantasy element, if you like magic, if you like uniquely different series, you'll thoroughly enjoy this. It may not be for everyone, but it'll definitely find an audience. If you're not quite sure about it, just watch the first couple of episodes and see what you think of it. Like I said, it's not going to be for everyone, but you may enjoy it. I know I thoroughly did, and I'm going on to Season 2 now, and I will do a review of that very shortly. Of the evolving series, and it's up to Season 4 at the moment, so when I get a chance to watch each of them, I'll do a different review on the particular series and talk about what I liked and didn't like and the way that the series is going. Look, I'm going to give this series 4 out of 5. I'm really impressed with it. There's elements to it I don't overly like, but most of it I really thoroughly enjoy, and I get a lot out of this series. And it sort of sucks you into the world that you'll go on this journey with these characters and you want to follow them and you want to know what's going on. And you want them to accomplish what they set out to do and become the magicians they want to be able to maneuver in these particular worlds that the series takes place in. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, please subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.